One of the best aspects of watching prolonged successful franchises like Marvel, Star Wars, Harry Potter, Breaking Bad,
tight, yeah!
is that you get to watch the characters develop and grow along with them. Like in the MCU, how Iron Man kind of started off as kind of egotistical, selfish, cocky genius.
What are you? Genius, billionaire, playboy, philanthropist.
And by the end of Endgame, he's making the biggest sacrifice play and saving the entire world. Or in Breaking Bad, how Walter White started off as this kind of innocent teacher, family man. Then he was pushed into a life of crime, and then slowly but surely started ascending into a more selfish and deviant man because he was so good at slinging dope. It was less about feeding his family and more about feeding his ego, and then he started killing people left and right who thought any less of him. But let's table character development for a second. If you look at this series called Game of Thrones, you don't have to watch it, but the series has been going on for about a decade. And look how the characters develop throughout the season. Season 1 from season 8, they literally start off as teenage actors and then they're full-grown adults by the end of the show. You literally got to grow up with these characters if you started watching at a young age. Another special part about it is that you can actually link different hairstyles and different outfits with different seasons. You can tell exactly what this character is going through. Oh, it's like, oh, this was back when the character was young and stupid. Or this is when the character became king and this is when they started, becoming into their own. This is super duper important because it gets to show a little bit more identity and it makes it a little more memorable because you can link different phases with different characters. We all have stories, we all go through something, and seeing that on a big screen makes it hit that much harder for the audience. Now, how does that relate to streamers, you ask? Well, with streamers, that connection hits 100 times harder and it's 100 times more authentic because it's so real. A lot of these streamers nowadays, 9 times out of 10, blow up super duper young. And 9 times out of 10, their audience is also super duper young. So if you're a streamer that started blowing up at like age 20, you're growing up with your audience damn near. And chances are you probably still have the mouth of a teenager, despite having such a massive audience like Kai, Speed, or Jinxie. And having a mouth of a teenager with the audience that big doesn't always lead to the best stuff being pushed and portrayed. But imagine if you were 16 and you had that type of attention. You would do pretty much anything because you have nothing to lose. You know what I'm saying? Because you're still a kid. But one of the very best examples of character development is when IShowSpeed went to Thailand. Speed went to Thailand to do a stream. And then Speed met this girl. And they were having a great time, they were having fun, they were laughing, the stream was very entertaining, and they decided to later go on a date. Now it was later revealed that that woman was a transgender woman. Now remember, Speed became a super mega celebrity at the age of 16, and he was doing some very outlandish stuff at 16 that was crazy. I'll be super duper honest. You can only imagine what you would be doing at the age of 16 to retain that type of attention. And what did Speed do in that situation? The right thing. Speed could have spazzed and got some very viral clips out of it, got some more attention, bringing more people in this crowd. It would be the wrong people and made a lot more money. But Speed played it cool and respectful and still took the woman on the date and they still had a good time. And that is a massive difference from what he probably would have done 3 years ago.
Don't read my chat. Close my stream, close the stream. Yeah, close the stream. Eggs, gender. What do you mean eggs? What is your gender?
อันนี้หนูพูดได้ใช่ปะเขาถามว่าเป็นเพศอะไรคุณตอบได้ใช่ไหมใช่ค่ะตอบได้ transgender
Oh.
Like when did you make the transition แบบว่าเราเริ่มที่จะเปลี่ยนตั้งแต่เมื่อไหร่ครับ
ตั้งแต่เด็กๆตั้งแต่จำความได้
เหรอเราอายุประมาณเท่าไหร่กี่ขวบ
ประมาณ4-5 ขวบได้
Okay,
ใช่
Yo, so she said she started her journey ever since she was like 4 or 5.
Oh, okay.
And this is also more important in the long run because a lot of young people look up to Speed from all across the world. And that small instance on stream could have tainted their perception or their perspective on people for the rest of life in probably a worse way. So Speed doing that is huge. So that's how character development in TV and streaming both interlinked. There's a lot of examples like that. A lot of streamers start off one way, clean up their act, and go a better way. And you can say that they're getting PR trained, but you can also say that they're just going up and living their life in real time, literally in a documentary type style of just learning as they go and trying to be a better person because of it. And you don't get to make a lot of mistakes when you're streaming, because since you have all this money and fame, the standard of you being a better person is higher, versus if you're just a kid, you make some mistakes, doesn't affect a lot of people. So learning how to grow as a streamer is harder and it's more important. And I feel like nowadays it's getting better and it's going in the right direction, more or less. Now I want to talk about seasons, right? We all know about seasons in shows, but there's also seasons, quote unquote seasons, also in streamers. And their seasons are defined by two things: their setup and their hair. Let's take Jason Wing for example. If you look at him right here, he has his black hair with his glasses. And if you know anything about Jason Wing, he used to do a lot of cringe talks, a lot of cringy, crazy, disgusting TikTok, but they went super mega viral. And you know exactly that was early in his career because his hair looks a lot different and his setup looks a lot different. Let's do another example. Plaqueboy Max, same thing. He started his career when he started his dreads. So you know exactly what era that was. The era when he was back to his parents' house in New Jersey. And you know that's when he got his start. When he had his long blonde dreads, that's when he joined FaZe, so you know exactly what era that was. Also a different setup. To when he dyed his dreads pink, you know exactly what era that was. That was the first FaZe subathon. All the way up to now, he cut his dreads completely off, and that kind of marked his departure from FaZe.
But yes, I'm leaving FaZe. Like I just said, I can't fully go into depth why I'm leaving FaZe.
When he had dreads, that's when he was with FaZe, and when he had no dreads, that marked his departure from FaZe. And also, again, his setup changed once he left FaZe. So you know exactly when on the timeline that is as well. So that's why the seasons are a little different. Like in streaming, because everything's live and people go live pretty often, there's not a lot of seasons. It's not defined in a singular box of this how many episodes. And streaming is defined by hair and setup. That's how you mark the different seasons within streamers. Or I didn't mean to do streamers, just streamers. I don't know why I put quotations. There's a lot more examples and I'll throw some up on the screen now. A lot of streamers change their hair for content reasons, for challenges or for whatever. But you know exactly where we are on the timeline and where we was based on those two things.
One of the main problems with TV is that we live and die by the director. And that's definitely not a bad thing. Me personally, I prefer it. I like the idea that whatever idea this director has is either gonna be the greatest thing or the worst thing. The problem is when we get in the middle and we try to fleece everybody, that's where you get like subpar film and nothing's changing the industry or making it better. All it takes is for a good concept to be executed poorly, and now the movie's ruined. The best case for us, the audience, is for them to make a season, get our feedback, and hopefully they change the direction of the show. But more often than not, when a story gets picked up, they have a set story that hopefully pays dividends later in the seasons, even if the first seasons were bad. But Twitch.tv doesn't have that problem. Because of the live chat, it creates the most perfect stream ideas and perfect segment ideas because the feedback is so immediate. You'd ask them how they felt about certain collabs, how they felt about certain segments. Was that segment too long? Was it too short? Should I focus on this part more? Should we have traveled here? How did y'all feel about it? You can get immediate, quick feedback. And not only can you better plan your segments live, you can like literally doing your segment and be improving it because of the chat's feedback, but it also helps you improve future segments. Like if you're trying to do something months in advance, you can always see how the chat responded to different segments. Like in the Mafia-thon, I'm sure Mafia-thon 1 took some cues from some of the marathons Kai did, and Mafia-thon 2 took some cues from Mafia-thon 1, and you know, 2 to 3 and so on and so forth. And also you can look at other content ideas from other creators and take cues to them also to improve your streams. Because more often than not, chats can be pretty influential, especially if you're like in the same demographic. I feel like FaZe boys could take cues from other FaZe boys because they have more or less the same demographic with your channel. Like imagine if you could talk directly to some of your favorite actors from your childhood. Like let's say Adventure Time. Imagine if the creator from Adventure Time started streaming 15 years ago. And let's say he finished the episode and he's sparked up stream, and you can just talk to him about different things. You can ask him to do more episodes on Marceline, or what's the character angle for Jake, or what was his idea when he made Finn the dog an alien, or how'd you come up with the Lich? You can ask him about theories or tips on world building, or what's his favorite TV show, or just basically like what's his favorite food or what's his favorite thing to draw. It can totally change the way you do that show, and it can get you even more immersed because that you are talking directly with the author and you understand him even more deeply than you did before. There's also a stigma about donating to streamers with millions of dollars, which actually doesn't make sense, because imagine if you grew up watching, I don't know, I didn't watch Disney, but Austin Alley, shows like that provided some type of escapism and entertainment. And let's say you had a rough household growing up, or, you know, you're going through rough things growing up, but Austin Alley really provided that comfort, or maybe it relates to the girls or the cast or something like that. And let's just say you had $5 and you just want to show their appreciation to how much they're doing for you, and you throw them $5. Nobody would look twice and be like, why would you donate to these actors that are already making much money? People are like, no, it makes sense. That's the same thing with streamers, bro. Like, a lot of these streamers are providing escapism, realism, entertainment. They get vulnerable with their chat a lot of times. Like Joe Bartolozzi has a lot of vulnerable, real moments with his chat. A number of streamers do. And if I'm a viewer and I'm consuming some of my best streamers, I don't give a damn how much money they're making. I'm one to show my support because they changed my life. You know what I'm saying? That's why you donate $2 million to streamers. But of course, you have a lot of, you know, people that make good money and aren't really going through something that still donate and just showing their support because they just fuck with the streamer. I don't know why it's such a stigma to donate to millionaires. We fucking buy thongs. You know what I'm saying? We buy clothes with literally other people's last names on it, and they're already fucking trillionaire. You feel me? So streamers should really get the least amount of flack cord because their relationship with their viewers is so real. The immediate feedback is such an improvement from modern day TV that it just makes it so much easier. And another thing is that the chat wants the best segments and they want the best content out of you. Like, these fans are a fan of you. Like, it's not like, let's say, you release a show or a movie and all of a sudden all these critiques from these professionals that think they know what they're talking about. No, with streamers, it's literally your fans telling you what they want from you. Thank God it's not like there's not a Twitch.tv critiques and they like rate your streams. That'd be fucking axe. So yeah, it's coming directly from the horse's mouth as to what they want, and it greatly improves streaming. And that's why streaming is better than TV, or a better form of TV. It eliminates the guesswork, and you don't have to do as much trial and error because you have your audience is your advisor and your consumer. Going back to the film industry, if you want to be a director or an actor, the hardest part is not necessarily learning how to make a good movie, because you can read books on that and watch a bunch of movies. Or if you're an actor, the hardest part is not necessarily learning how to read a script or how to work a set. The hardest part is literally just getting an opportunity. Whether it's being a director and getting the right funding from the right studio without taking away most of your creative control. Or as an actor, losing out to a more profitable, established actor rather than losing to a more technically skilled actor. There's over 50,000 scripts that get written every day, and even quadruple the amount of auditions that get filmed and submitted every day. And yet we still get these same old concept in actors because we're more afraid of losing money than losing our creativity as a society. But guess what industry doesn't have that problem? Streaming. The best aspect of streaming and content creation is virtually anybody can do it, starting from any place, anywhere. Let's say you're a director, you flop on your big break movie. This movie is the most funded. You spent the most years working on this movie. You have the biggest actors that you possibly can get at this stage of your career, and it flops. It might be a long time before you get an opportunity like that, and there's not much leeway in an area like that. Or you're an actor, you've done a lot of training, you've done a lot of script writing, done a lot of auditions, and you land a great role for you that can hopefully get you other roles. But let's say you get to set and it's not quite what you prepared for, and the script's not quite what you thought it was when you first read it. It can heavily poison your auditions for the future. But in streaming, you could fail year after year publicly and still have your big break waiting on you. Ask Junxi. You don't have to get approved from no studio or any group of people for that matter. The only people's opinions that matter is the one that matters, which is your audience. And you have far more creative control because you're loyal to your audience. That means you can do 2 weeks of desktop, 2 weeks of IRL, and a month-long subathon if you want, if it's all entertaining. Because in streaming, you're the actor, director, and the cast. That's my video on how streaming is modern day TV. Had a ball making this, had this concept in my mind for a long time. I'm glad I made a video to it. Hope you guys enjoy. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I love you guys. See you guys in the next one. Janet. All right, cool. Finally, I'm gonna try to get that video down for weeks.